What if I told you I wanted to remake Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho? What would you tell me? No, don't do that. It's a bad idea. What function would it serve? How could it translate to this time period? How would I be able to inject my own vision while respecting the original work? What would be lost? Now, what if I told you that this Psycho remake already exists and could have been readily prevented by someone involved asking any of these questions? The most important of which being, what would be lost? This is the essential question of aura. In his essay on the subject, Walter Benjamin describes aura as that which withers in the age of mechanical reproduction. He goes on to specify that the technique of reproduction detaches the reproduced object from the domain of tradition. This means that in any piece of art, be it film or otherwise, some intangible quality exists that is lost in translations as time and technology attempt to recreate it. Aura is that which exists in the moment, that which dies, and it can die in a myriad of different ways, be it through mass production, language translation, editing of raw footage, or the oh-so-tragic Hollywood addiction, recreation. Psycho 1998 is a shot-for-shot recreation of the original work. Of course, then the question becomes, why? But we'll return to that after going through a few iconic scenes. Murder scenes in this film are altered slightly, yet remain so largely the same as the original that it's unclear why the additions exist at all. In the original shower scene, Marian's death is given deeper terror in the dynamic series of shots used to depict the stabbing. In the remake, the same shots are used, only now there's also intercutting with stormy clouds. Intercutting separate images with an iconic scene to heighten the effect on the viewer is an interesting idea in principle, but as it turns out, stormy clouds by themselves are not disturbing, nor are they visually stimulating, nor do they convey to any greater extent the idea that murder is bad and scary. The exact same thing is done later with the murder of Detective Arbogast, and though the intercut images are noticeably more unsettling here, Arbogast's murder never carried the same emotional gravity as Marian's, making it basically feel inappropriate. A couple of key changes here and there also feel largely tone-deaf and pointless. The predator birds in Norman's parlor are blurred out and thus lose all the feeling of dread they originally carried, and Norman masturbates while spying on Marian, just in case the audience couldn't tell he was lusting after her. But all of this is still avoiding the large, ugly elephant in the room, and indeed the entire reason why Psycho 1998 is a complete failure. It has no soul, no aura. No subtle changes throughout could ever change the fact that it is a shot-for-shot recreation of Psycho. It is made with Psycho's structure and nothing else within the frame complementing or serving any greater image in the way that Psycho did. Misplaced homage to the original mixed with a composition that offers nothing unique or remarkable on its own robs this film of either having an identity or properly doing justice to the original. The shots in the original score are kept intact, and instead of preserving intensity, it just feels jarring and weird. As a perfect and terribly unfortunate example, listen to this 90s radio play out, only to be replaced by a score from the 60s.
Be with you in a second.
What must be realized is that Psycho was created in all parts as service to a whole vision, capturing specific moments in time to create its own aura. The shots and music serve only as parts of a whole that is much more alive than any one of the devices used throughout. Roger Ebert recounts that the movie is an invaluable experiment in the theory of cinema because it demonstrates that a shot-by-shot remake is pointless. Genius apparently resides between or beneath the shots, or in chemistry that cannot be timed or counted. That is aura. That hidden something that exists in a moment in time or a place which cannot be replicated. An attempt to recreate based on shots alone leaves Psycho 1998 as not really bad, just redundant. It's Psycho's soulless, reanimated husk, forced to go through the exact same motions and hit the exact same beats as it did in 1960. The shame in it all is it could have had its own voice, its own aura. There are glimmers in the film of something more. Hitchcock worked wonders with shadow in Psycho, where black and white film stood as a deliberate decision to serve the film's aesthetic and thematic through line. Psycho 1998 was shot in color and modernized, but to no actual purpose or effect. Short motel scenes pass by, which use synthetic and neon light and are legitimately intriguing for it, only the film doesn't realize it. If this film wanted to be anything at all, the director should have taken that and run a marathon with it. Sharp contrast, uneasy washed out artificial light, and deep colors. Light and color should have been to this film what shadow was to Hitchcock's. Maybe then it could have created something for itself. However, as it stands, Psycho 1998 should be required viewing for any filmmaker for no other reason but to understand this. Aura is not preserved, only created.